House a request to the Speaker Alban Bagbin to reconvene the House to deliberate on urgent pending government business.
Leadership will be carried along and we can reconvene. When we are also satisfied that the people he has mentioned to us he is going to consult, when he is done, we engage him and we can trigger a recall.
We'll bring you details shortly here on Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holding set-side spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Well, tonight, less than 24 hours after the indefinite suspension of Parliament, the Majority Caucus has filed a motion requesting the Speaker of Parliament, Alban Bagbin, to reconvene a meeting of the House to deliberate on urgent pending government business. The Speaker of Parliament on Tuesday adjourned the House indefinitely amidst the controversy over the declaration of 4 parliamentary seats vacant. The First Deputy Majority Whip Habib Idrisu yesterday hinted of the intention to trigger a recall of the House.
We agree as leadership conclave that yes, he should adjourn the House Senate day. Based on the engagement leadership have with the Speaker, it's for the consultation. That is number one. Because he needs to consult people. He told us that when he's done with the consultation, leadership will be carried along and we can reconvene. When we are also satisfied that the people he has mentioned to us he's going to consult, when he is done, we engage him and we can trigger a recall.
Okay, so you'll give him latitude, but if it delays inordinately, you're saying you will then use the constitutional trigger to force him to recall the House?
Yes, to recall the House, but not to force him.
My colleague Emefa Apawu joins me in studio with details of a memo filed by the Majority Caucus. Emefa, first, what's contained in this memo?
Okay, so this is a memo sent to the Right Honourable Speaker, and it's from the Second Deputy Majority Chief Whip, whom we know as Alex Tete. He's the MP for Sefia Kontombra, and the date is 22nd October 2024, and the subject is notice of meeting by request under Article 112 Clause 3 and Order 53 of the Standing Orders, and he respectfully on behalf of myself and the requisite number of members of Parliament from the Majority Caucus, I have the honour to address you on a matter of utmost national importance. In accordance with Article 112 Clause 3 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana, 1992, and Standing Order 53 of the Parliament of Ghana, we hereby formally request a meeting of Parliament. The signatories of members making this request are hitherto attached, and we have a copy of that signature. The signatures that have been collected as well. And it goes on to talk about the legal basis for this particular request. And some explanation is given to ensure clarity and emphasize the legal foundation of this request. We respectfully draw your attention to the following provisions presented in order of constitutional and procedural hierarchy. And it goes on to quote Article 112 Clause 3 of the Constitution, then the Standing Orders 53.1 that I have talked about, also Order 53 Clause 2 and Order 57 Clause 3, which provides that the Speaker may summon a sitting of the House before the date or time to which the House was being adjourned, or at any date or time after the House has been adjourned sine die. And it then goes on to also quote Standing Order 58.4, and it states the Speaker shall summon Parliament within a period determined by the Speaker, and the requirement for a 14-day notice shall not apply where there is an emergency. So that's the clarity that it provides by quoting Standing Order 58.4. We know that every time this is asked for, it goes through a 14-day period. But this one, they're coming under a certificate of urgency, sort of. So it talks
because,
about...
Emefa, if you look at the Order 38.1, it says the Speaker shall, pursuant to Clause 3 of Article 112 of the Constitution, upon a request of 15% of members of Parliament, summon a meeting of Parliament within 7 days after the receipt of the request, except that the meeting shall commence not later than 7 days after the issue of the sermon. So that comes to the 14 days.
Exactly.
But this is special.
So he's coming under that urgency or emergency, which is quoting Standing Order 58.4, which I've talked about, that they don't need to go through that 14-day period that you talked about in that Standing Order 38. Now, it talks about the urgent matters for consideration, for which reason he's coming under the emergency. We respectfully request that upon recall of the House, the following urgent government urgent business be deliberated upon and transacted, including any other business that comes before the House. 1, we are requesting for the tax exemptions for designated beneficiaries under the One District, One Factory program. This has been outstanding for some time now. Also, the second issue for which reason they are calling for this emergency recall is Ghana Financial Stability Fund, an international development association facility of 250 million USD. And then also some bills that are outstanding: the Environmental Protection Agency Bill, the Social Protection Bill, the Customs Amendment Bill, the Budget Bill 2023, also the Ghana Boundary Commission Bill, the Interstate Succession Bill 2022. And they give a context and justification for why this should be done after listing it. And it says, you may recall that Parliament had a giant Senate hearing on Tuesday, 22nd October, without any explanation to the circumstances. It goes on to talk about what happened in Parliament leading to this particular adjournment by the Speaker. So they go on concluding by requesting for that action, considering the constitutional and statutory provisions cited above, and in the exercise of our rights as members of Parliament, we respectfully urge you to summon Parliament for a meeting within the stipulated 7-day period. We stand ready to provide any additional information or clarification that may be required and look forward to your favorable consideration of this request. And we've been checking with our Parliamentary Affairs correspondent and also our sources in Parliament. We are told that this particular memo and petition, I should say, has been sent or forwarded to the office of the Speaker, which is signed by Alex Tete, MP, Sefia Kontombra.
Okay, we will still be monitoring this to see how this goes. But this has gotten the reaction of the Parliament chairman of its Finance Committee. Remember, there are a lot of the urgent business that Emefa enumerated there sits with the Finance Committee of Parliament, and the chairman, Patrick Boma, is urging the Speaker of Parliament to focus on the national interest over his decision to suspend the House indefinitely. He is warning that development could cripple the entire economy if nothing is done. He's been speaking to Joy Business in Washington, D.C., USA, on the sidelines of annual World Bank IMF meetings.
I'm appealing to the Speaker and the leadership of the House that they ought to have Ghana in their heart and every decision that they take. In political, on every matter does not help the country. We've gone through a very difficult situation where a lot of Ghanaians have lost major investment through the debt exchange program. Because of COVID, we've suffered a lot. We've gone through an IMF program, and the outlook from all the credit rating agencies are turning out to be very positive in our favor. Some of these reports will give the investor community some hedginess, in my view, and it will not be very good for our outlook.
This is still top story. Let's bring in the Member of Parliament for the People of South Day, Nelson Roxon Dafiamapo, here on Top Story. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us here. Will your side, but first of all, your initial reaction to moves by the Majority Caucus to get the House to reconvene? Hello, Nelson Roxon Dafiamapo, do I have you? Okay, so we'll try and get him on the line so we can have this chat. But the news is that the majority side of the House have sent a request to the Speaker of the House, Alban Bagbin, to reconvene the House to deliberate on urgent pending government business, and we've been enumerating to you the sort of businesses that for which the majority side says the Speaker should reconvene. I have Nelson Roxon Dafiamapo on the line. Grateful to you for joining us here. Now, your reaction
I'm privileged to have joined you, and good evening to your listeners.
Thanks for joining. Now, your reaction to the majority side's request for the Speaker to reconvene the House.
First of all, This is a classical example of an abuse of parliamentary process. And I say this without hesitation. If you recall, as soon as Speaker adjourned Parliament in there, after our second meeting of the year came to an end sometime 30th of July, this same group of NPP wrote a very scathing letter, practically insulting Speaker, and sent a motion, a memo to his office, recalling Parliament dated 31st July 2024. In that memo to Speaker, they detailed practically these very businesses and said they were matters that were of urgent national importance. They used all the high sounding polluting words to convey that memo. Speaker eventually obliged them in accordance with the law, and we were recalled sometime in September for 2 days. When we came in September, they refused to pursue this matter. So after the 2 days, Speaker had no choice than to adjourn the House against CDA. Then our parliamentary holidays came to an end. So we were formally recalled to Parliament this month, earlier this month. When we came, they've had opportunity to pursue this matter. But because of the indolence and the laxity with which they approach parliamentary business, we've not been able to do a lot. Then by your own conduct, you were depleted in Parliament. And by operation of law, the NDC had become a majority. You decided to go and play with the issue in court. The issue played out in court. Instead of coming back to the House, you walked out yesterday, forcing Speaker to lack a decisional quorum. So he had to adjourn the House. Then you go back and rehash all these matters again, clothing them with the issue that they are of national importance. And they should wait for it, because I am also going back to the Supreme Court. I am going to ask the Supreme Court to interpret the constitutional provision that they are invoking. Because when a Speaker invokes a constitutional provision to arrive at a decision, they are questioning it. So I am also going to the Supreme Court to challenge this motion or memo for a recall. And I will seek to injunct the Speaker from acting on this memo until the final determination of my case. I have served notice.
When is this action expected to take off?
I am filing it tomorrow. I'm working on it. As soon as I got this, I'm working on it. But I'm also going to hold consultation with my leadership and regarding it, and see what happens by close of business tomorrow.
But if you look at the bills they've enumerated, I mean, you say that they enumerated the same things when they tried to reconvene the House the other time. I have pointed you to their letter of 31st July. I wish that you can dig it up quickly and see the content. How, for instance, does a 2022 bill suddenly becomes of urgent nature in Parliament? That bill has been sitting on the order paper for the past 3 years. How does that metamorphose into an urgent matter for which a recall must be requested under this constitutional provision? Well, so they are simply abusing the process, and they are like babies who when their toys are taken away from them, they have to cry. But when there are issues such as the Environmental Protection Agency bill, they also bring in the Ghana Financial Stability Fund and all of that. Aren't these issues that Parliament should be concerned with, of which you should be there to debate to see how this really progresses?
Last week, the Environmental Protection Bill, go and see the MPs that stood on their feet and worked on it. it was mainly the NDC members of Parliament. They had opportunity because that bill is at the third stage of reading. Once it is read, then it is passed. That's where we are. If they were in the house yesterday, this business could have been done easily.
Well, but
a lot of the things they have listed, if they were in the house yesterday, they would have assisted the speaker to have conducted these businesses. They decided to walk out.
What we got from them yesterday was that the speaker, after meeting with the leadership of the house, came to the conclusion that he is going to adjourn the house. That's something that was decided at leadership.
Hold on. Yesterday, when you interviewed us, I hinted that they were gathering signatures to file this particular memo. Didn't Habib deny?
Yes.
He denied flatly that they were doing anything like that, and that they were going to wait for the speaker to consult. Find out from them where is the evidence of the conclusion of speaker's consultation with the entities and the persons he hinted that he will consult. Ask them.
Well, but
these guys have no credibility at all. And I think that it is time we ask the hard questions. They are toying with the destiny of this country.
When it comes to destiny of this country, and we have, a facility of 250 million United States dollars that needs to be considered, is that not something that should draw your attention and it has to do with the destiny of this country, and therefore should get you to Parliament to look at?
They mentioned the same $250 million as being part of the urgent businesses for which they filed the 31st July letter to Speaker asking for a recall. Why were we not able to consider it when we were recalled?
Well, I remember, during that time, and when these things are brought to Parliament, both sides, you argue to find out which one do we move on with. So probably, the time couldn't allow them to complete it. Is it not something that you should reconsider?
You see, it's sad you want to seek for government. But I think that you should be asking government why, when they told the whole world, they told the nation that they were recalling Parliament in the 31st July letter based on these businesses that they themselves listed. Why, when Parliament was recalled, these matters were not concluded?
Okay.
Ask them.
Okay.
I think that's the question you should be asking them. And ask them again that since Parliament resumed until we were adjourned, the House was adjourned yesterday, why couldn't these businesses be carried? You saw that anytime we went to Parliament, you usually will find the NDC side, well represented. The people who claim that they are in government, you won't find them in the House.
Well, they earlier served notice that because of the declaration and which they disagreed with, they are going to stay away from Parliament.
But they went to court to say that by the declaration, the NDC had become a majority. They went to court. I didn't go to court. The affidavit in support of their own ex-party application. These were the matters they swore to and took to court. And so, if the court says the effect of that declaration should be stayed, Parliament must make certain decisions. So come to the House and let's make the decisions. Otherwise, the NDC remains majority. In fact, if Speaker obliges them with this recall application and we go back, we'll sit where the majority sits, where the NDC is supposed to sit.
If you do that, you will be disrespecting the Supreme Court, won't you?
No, we will not be disrespecting the Supreme Court. I have told you that when the Supreme Court says that a certain order be stayed, it has certain decisions must be taken by Parliament to give effect to that. Those decisions we couldn't take yesterday because we lacked the decisional quorum. Why? Because the NPP walked out. Because if you yourself go to court, the Supreme Court, and go and swear to an affidavit and say that the minority has become the majority, a certain process must be effected to reverse that, and he has to take a decision in Parliament for that to be done.
Okay, hold on for me. Let me bring in an MP on the majority side, lawyer Andre Japamesa is MP for 2nd D. Lawyer, grateful to you for joining us here. Now, the minority says they will, the Honorable Dafiamapo says he is going to go to the Supreme Court to file a motion to stay this a request you've sent to the Speaker to reconvene the House. Your reaction?
Well, let me say good evening to cherished listeners and my good friend who is developing a penchant for mischief, Roxanne Dafiamapo. Isn't it surprising, KB, that a man who is claiming to have the national interest at heart, okay, is indicating that he is going to file the application at the Supreme Court to and ask that the Supreme Court places an injunction until his application on an interpretation of the recall provisions are determined by the court. I've listened to him carefully since he started his submission, and I don't know him to be like that. And Roxanne, you and I know that the truth of the matter is that when the Parliament was recalled in July, it had to delay because there was no venue. And so when subsequently the Grand Arena was prepared and we all reconvened there, leadership communicated to the entire House that some matters, there had not been consensus, and so those were not going to be taken. It was only the $300 million or $350 million facility, I believe, and some other matter that were duly taken. And so it cannot be said that the majority failed to prosecute government business, hence our inability to get these matters through. In any event, when Parliament the fifth meeting of Parliament started on Tuesday, there was that very day that Ato Forson, the minority leader, raised this issue about the eligibility of these 4 members of Parliament. KB, no?
Yes. As I recall.
Thursday was when the Speaker ruled. There was no sitting on Friday. The next day that we sat was yesterday, when, because the Speaker had failed to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court, the majority then decided to walk out. And so what window has been available for us to deal with this government business that you allege, it is arising out of our indolence. That is why we haven't been able to carry this through. Let's be truthful and candid with the people of Ghana.
But his point is about the recall earlier that you got the Speaker to do.
That's what I'm saying. That there were several matters. They refused flatly to agree for us to table the 250 million loan, right? Because you recall that before we rose in July, Muntaka had raised some issue on the allocation of that loan that we were procuring from the World Bank. Okay, when we came back in September, those matters have still not been resolved. And so leadership agreed with, obviously, their opposition not to table it for consideration. But that doesn't mean that it ceases to be an urgent matter. The 1D, 1F exemption applications, he knows that the contention at the time was that some reports were ready, some were not ready, but they wanted to take all of it together, if my recollection is right. And so that's why that was not also tabled during the September recall period, for us to defer it to this side of the term of Parliament. But
if some of the reports are not ready, why then do you classify those as urgent?
But of course, these have been pending for, you recall that there was some disagreement as regards the volume or quantum of tax exemptions that we're granting to these 1D, 1F companies relative to some of the loans that we're contracting. And the argument by some were that, why are you granting all these exemptions and go to borrow? But we, as a parliament, had passed a law to encourage private sector foreign direct investment into our economy. So it was necessary for us to make these concessions available to entice these investments to come into Ghana so that they can come and generate the requisite. Hold on one second.
Well, that's fine. But I mean, isn't the Fiamapo right to state that or to question you on the relevance of the Interstate Succession Bill 2022 still being a matter of urgency in 2024 October?
Well, I do not, and truth be told, I haven't read the memo that was sent to the Speaker. But the fact that these bills would end if they are not taken with the life of this Parliament, and we have to defer it for the 9th Parliament itself, makes it a matter that requires some urgency to deal with it before the tenure of this Parliament lapses. He knows that when a bill is introduced in Parliament and it's not dealt with within the life of the Parliament, that bill essentially suffers a death and has to be reintroduced in the new term of the Parliament. So if it's priority of government to pass this thing into law before the life of this Parliament ends, then by necessity, it's an urgent bill.
All right, let me bring in Daphne Opo here. So you've listened to your colleague on the majority side, Andrew Mesa there. For the interest of the state, won't the minority soften your stance?
I think that the expressing interest of the state has been abused by the NPP in government. And let me look. Ejapa says what? On Wednesday, check the order paper for Wednesday. They are about to introduce about 8 bills, fresh bills. This Parliament has about 2 months to its life for its term to end. They are seeking to introduce 8 bills for first reading before they are referred to the respective committees. So if it says that the 2022 Interstate Succession Bill, if it's not dealt with, will suffer a relapse because of the life of this Parliament will come to an end, is neither here nor there. The point I am making is that they seek to rehash the grounds for which they applied for the recall in the 31st July dated memo is the same grounds they are canvassing. And yet when they got the opportunity, when the recall was eventually convened, they chicken out. They never were purposeful about pursuing those matters. So
that's
I am saying that
Roxanne,
this current
and you know that this affection is
a similar fate. In any case, he talks about lack of consensus. By this very conduct that they are currently exhibiting, with whom are they building the consensus? With whom are they building consensus so that they expect businesses to be effectively carried out when we are recalled pursuant to the memo they just passed?
Okay.
It won't happen.
Well, and remember, yesterday when we're speaking...
That's for their side to determine whether they would look at the national interest or pursue their parochial political interest.
I am saying you are abusing national interest. When you went to the Supreme Court, you went to canvass for your political interest. You went to tell the Supreme Court that the NDC has become a majority, and therefore that the effect of the ruling of the Speaker should be stayed. That is the point you took to court. You swore to the affidavit. I didn't swear to it. That so by the illegal you didn't swear there because of national interest. You went there to have the balance of power tilted back to you. That is what is contained in
sub judice. I'm not going to debate you on it because
yes,
as far as I'm concerned, your contention is neither here nor there. The fact of the matter is that the July recall was to deal with matters that were necessary, including the GMPC work program. We are in October. The whole year, they still haven't had their work program approved for business, for them to carry out their activities in the upstream states. You think it's not urgent for us to deal with it?
When we came in September,
you refused to take
management. waiting till October before bringing the work program for 2024.
I'm not interested in this your
should the management of GNPC be sent over?
Honorable Mesa, the $250 million loan that you referred to, I understand has actually been passed. What's on the in the letter that has been sent to the Speaker is the Energy Sector Recovery Program loan.
When you state
absolutely, and so the point is this: the matters that have been tabled as far as
so what is there? Sorry, what the $250 million loan that is pending is the Ghana Financial Stability Fund. Earlier was the Energy Sector Recovery Program that has been passed.
I do not have the details with me presently, but I'm saying that there were two facilities that government was seeking to contract.
Okay.
One for the energy sector, I believe that's the World Bank 250, which is still outstanding. And then there was an IMF 300 or 300. That is the one that was approved in September. Okay?
I understand that the $250 million Energy Sector Recovery Program loan has been approved.
Okay, either way, there are two facilities. One of them have been approved. One is still outstanding, and government is saying that these are matters that are urgent, that requires parliamentary attention. I would rather urge my colleagues on the other side, okay, Roxanne and his team, that in all of this, Parliament was programmed to sit for 3 weeks, okay? The intention was for all these matters that were outstanding as much as possible to be cleared before we rise or break for our election processes and come back after the elections. Because of the exigencies of the time and the issues that came back up last week and yesterday, the Speaker adjourned Parliament Senate. Majority is saying that adjournment itself is going to affect significant government business that is pending before the House. And so it has sought to recall, ask the Speaker to comply with the law and recall Parliament so that these urgent government businesses can be dealt with.
But I mean, yesterday when we spoke to your leadership, we were made to understand that the agreement was the Speaker was going to consult some eminent Ghanaians before he reconvenes the House. Are you aware whether he's done that? He's finished with it?
I'm not in a position to speak to it. But obviously, if this motion itself or this memo was initiated by the majority leadership, then it stands to reason that they potentially have information that these consultations have taken place.
All right, Andrew Mesa, I'm grateful to you. He is MP for 2nd D, and also Nelson Roxon Dafinopo is MP for South Dai. This has been Top Story brought to you by Telis, Connecting Energies and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. There is more on this particular story on Newsnight with Emefa Apawu.
45 days away from the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, 3 NDC MPs introduced Private Members' Bill to repeal a section of LI 2462 that allows mining in forest reserves as they take on government's failure to repeal the LI despite promises to do so.
In the, urgent steps of promoting a Private Members' Bill to reflect the sentiments of many Ghanaians.
Also tonight, the New Patriotic Party accuses the National Democratic Congress of deliberately acting to disrupt government business as the party alleges it has uncovered a secret document by the opposition to capture power by every means.
Chapter 2 of the secret document provides strategies on how the NDC minority should leverage parliamentary power to disrupt government business.
We have details as the party takes on Speaker Alban Bagbin for what they say is his attempt to aid the minority to torpedo the majority in Parliament.
Mr. Speaker has crossed the be careful line. In other words, Mr. Speaker is beyond redemption as a statesman who ought to help glue Parliament together and see to government business to further the lots of Ghanaians.
We have more as a former Supreme Court judge weighs in on the parliamentary debate over the 4 vacant seats, asserting that the MPs in question have effectively crossed carpet.
It is incongruous to say that when a party, a member, decides to run independently for Parliament, he has not yet crossed carpet.
And also tonight, Reporters Without Borders weighs in on attack on Multimedia's Erastus Asare Donko and his team for filming the destruction of large tracts of the Asinenyo Forest Reserve by illegal miners. I have details of what they were able to capture.
And in business, Springfield to start appraisal drilling of Afina well expected to add 50,000 barrels of oil a day to Ghana's production capacity.
And I suppose Ghana is one win away from a return to the Under-20 AFCON following dominant group stage performance by the Black Satellite in the ongoing WAFU B tournament.
And tonight on the ongoing quarter-final stage of the National Science and Maths Quiz, Keta SHTS takes off to a good start in the quarter-final competition against Achimota School and Impriaso SHS. I have all the details of that and more here on Newsnight. You want to stay for details. I bring you details of that and more here on Newsnight. After this short break, I am Emefa Apawu. Please do want to send us your thoughts, your comments via WhatsApp. It's 055-111-1997. We're live on X Spaces. We're on Facebook. We're on myjournline.com. Also on Love 99.5 FM and affiliates across the country. Please do stay with us. We're back after the break.
There's a business in every woman, from the young lady brimming with exciting and novel business ideas to the market queen managing her empire. There's the she architect, quantity surveyor, realtor, business consultant, crafting dreams into reality, and the multitasking mom seamlessly blending work at home. The entrepreneur, meticulously checking stock, to the corporate woman sealing deals on the move. Indeed, there's a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Benefit from tailored activities, networking, business and technical support, free webinars, trainings, and more. To join this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana maga with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302-681582. This advert is FDA approved.
Do you want a healthy smile?
Pregnant and experiencing oral health changes? Hi, I'm Tanya from Bethel Dental Clinic, Ghana. Pregnancy is a beautiful journey, but it can bring about hormonal shifts that affect your oral health. During pregnancy, maintaining good dental health is important, not just for the mother, but also for the baby's well-being. Try to maintain good oral health routines. That includes brushing twice daily with fluoride toothpaste, floss daily, and use mouthwash if recommended. Please remember that it is safe for pregnant women to visit the dentist for routine checkups, cleanings, and emergency treatments. Bethel Dental Clinic, your partner in prenatal dental health for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy baby.
Healthy smile.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first point of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Osu Akwaje, or our office near the Osu Stadium. We're also in Tema Community 1, opposite Olam SHF, Kumasi KNUST campus, UCC Cape Coast, and now at the Marina Mall, Airport City. Or call us 0302 764101, 764209, or 762792. Visit our website www.kingdomgh.com.
Many thanks for staying with us here on News Night on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra. In Kumasi, we're on Love 99.5 FM. Tonight, 3 NDC MPs are seeking to introduce a private member's bill to repeal Section 3.2 of the LI 2462, which allows mining in forest reserves. President Akufo-Addo promised organised labour that that instrument will be revoked as soon as Parliament reconvened. But after a whole week of sitting, the revocation was not done, actually did not happen until Parliament was suspended indefinitely due to that controversy. The 3 NDC MPs, Alhassan Suhini, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, and Francis Xavier Susu have since written to the Speaker of Parliament and to kickstart the process. Let me bring in Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kweku Asante to give us all the details. He joins me via Zoom. So Kweku, has this proposed bill been sent to the Speaker? Let's talk about the rendition.
Well, so Emefa, per the regulation in Parliament in terms of how exactly a private member's bill will be introduced to the floor, they have sent this to the Speaker's office through the clerk to Parliament. And it says, Alhassan Suhini, Honourable Member for North Tongue, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa, and then MP for Susu, MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu, introduction of a private member's bill to repeal Section 3.2 of the Environmental Protection, which grants the President the authority to issue mining leases for exploration in forest reserves. We wish to request the Legislative Drafting Office to draft a subsequent submission to the Speaker a bill to repeal Section 3.2 of the EPA, Environmental Protection Mining in Forest Reserve Regulation, which grants the President the authority to issue mining leases for exploration in forest reserves in Ghana. Please find attached our proposal for the said bill. And so these 3 MPs, they continue to add the proposal, their memorandum, the key issues for which reason they believe this must be done. It's a very short rendition, and this is something, if it comes to the floor of Parliament, can be done in hours, literally, because it is just one section, and it says an act to repeal Section 3.2 of the Environmental Protection, into bracket, Mining in Forest Reserves Regulation 2022, LI 2462, which grants the President the authority to issue mining leases. And if it's passed, the process will follow. And Section 3.2 repealed. And the two, as relevant, it says the President may in writing grant approval to a mining company to undertake mining activity in a globally biodiversity area in the national interest. So this is what they are seeking to remove Section 3.2, and if invariably this is passed, Section 3.2 will cease to be part of LI 2462 MFR.
Well, but Kweku, just before I let you off, though, we'll be hearing from these private members or the MPs in question. But when Parliament resumed, there was the government business that was read out, at least to the Parliamentary Affairs press corps. We were told that this was going to feature heavily. In fact, there was a promise as part of the organised labour calling off their strike. What really happened?
So on Tuesday last week, when the House reconvened, the majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, together with his colleague, were expected to address a press conference. At the time, Dr. Atufo did not attend. But I asked specifically to the majority leader what exactly was happening, because he had listed a number of programs that was coming to Parliament. It did not feature. So I asked the majority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, who told me that this is something that they've also heard. It hasn't come to Parliament yet. If it does come, they'll be prioritizing it, and it's something they'll be working on. In fact, at the time, he shared his academic opinion to the effect that an LI to be revoked, does it need to come to Parliament and all that? He asked those questions publicly, but said that if it did come to Parliament, they'll find a way to deal with it. So that is what he said. And then the next day and two, we actually cited a letter from the Attorney General, Godfrey Dame, to the clerk to Parliament about this same LI and saying that government is ready to put it before the House for it to be revoked. But as we speak, up until Tuesday, when the Speaker of Parliament adjourned the House indefinitely, that LI had not come to the floor. And once a business has not come to the floor, either been laid or anything of the sort, that business is not considered to be part of the business that the House is going to consider, at least for the next foreseeable future. So when it comes to that specific promise that has been made by the President and the Lands Minister as regards to revoking LI 2462, it has not seen the light of day, in terms of it coming to the floor of Parliament. We've been asking questions. All we have been told is that when it does come, it will be prioritized.
We're grateful. That's Parliamentary Affairs correspondent Kwekwa Sante there giving us updates on this. At least we can hear from one out of the three MPs who actually filed this private members bill to repeal the LI 2462, a portion of it that allows mining and forest reserves. Alhassan S. Suini, and he's also the ranking member of on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee. He explains that they are motivated to act because of government's failure.
This government has the penchant to use public relations as a solution to many of the problems that we face. They make declarations that they demonstrate no commitment toward. In our view, if action is not taken, this declaration that they have made will also just remain as such, a declaration backed with no commitment whatsoever. And that is why we are taking the, urgent steps of promoting a private members bill to reflect the sentiments of many Ghanaians. If you consider the fact that this government in the last 8 years has issued over 1,600 licenses to people, given the fact that they came to meet only 57 licenses that were issued to small-scale miners from 1996, we are worried that if we do not do anything quickly about this law, the government and the president, with this authority, may just give out all our, forest land for mining purposes.
Well, Hassan Suini also insists that government is only paying lip service to the fight against Galamsey, and all the promises made to Ghanaians and organized labor in particular were not genuine.
Well, the government approach has always been a charade. I do not blame organized labor. I am only surprised that they still, in the face of overwhelming disappointments, chose to give government the benefit of the doubt on this matter. They have always engaged in a charade when it comes to this very important fight against illegal mining. They have never shown any commitment whatsoever. Remember how this so-called fight even began in the first place in 2017. It was as a result of the media coalition raising concerns and highlighting the need for the government to do something about it. And so a new government, very opportunistic, decided to ride on the bandwagon and did so without any commitment whatsoever to really stemming the tide. And the evidence in the days after the president's declaration to put his presidency on the line on the matter can bear me out. The fact that, excavators got missing after they were, supposedly seized from their owners, and up till today, we do not know how those excavators vanished. From day one, they have never really been committed to any fight against illegal mining. It has always been a charade to deceive the people and to create a semblance of a fight while benefiting from the whole enterprise.
That's Alhassan Suhini. There is also the ranking member on the Lands and Natural Resources Committee in Parliament. They've, together with two others, Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa and Francis Xavier Susu, they filed a private member's bill to repeal the portions of the LI 2642 that allows mining in forest reserves. Now, tonight, the New Patriotic Party is accusing the opposition NDC of acting to disrupt government business in Parliament. This comes in the wake of recent happenings in Parliament where Speaker Alban Bagbin declared 4 seats vacant, giving the NDC a temporary minority on the floor while addressing a press conference at the NPP party headquarters today. Director of Communications for the NPP, Richard Ahiagba, first alleges that they have uncovered a secret document put together by the opposition NDC to capture power through the legislature.
Chapter 2 of the secret document provides strategies on how the NDC minority should leverage parliamentary power to disrupt government business. Pages 7 and 8 under the subheading Maximizing Parliamentary Control of the Legislature provides the context for this NDC dubious plot. And I read from here, but it's actually a direct quote from the document. The 2020 election resulted in an unprecedented situation in Ghanaian politics, with an evenly split parliament, with the NDC and NPP holding equal seats. The equilibrium creates a powerful opportunity for the NDC to, one, influence, to delay or outright block government's legislative agenda. I want you to focus on those things. One, influence, delay, or outright block government's legislative agenda. And now, ladies and gentlemen of the media, this strategy the NDC has operated with since 2021 is on full display with what is happening in Parliament. So you have a situation where the NDC, for some odd reason, decides that it wants to be majority. And so therefore, in partnership with Speaker, Mr. Speaker is actively aiding that seeming coup d'etat by the NDC in Parliament. But the point that ought to be made is that this is not an isolated incident. This is part of a coordinated effort by their own design outlined in this book to ensure that they use every means available to them, fair or foul, to affect, to disrupt, and obstruct government business.
My colleague James Aveji has just returned from that press conference, joins me in the studios. James, I'm curious, did we get to see a copy of this supposed document that Richard Ahiagba refers to?
That Emefa, he did not provide this particular document he talks about, but promises that they will make that available subsequently. But he identifies this document as winning the 2024 elections and beyond, a comprehensive NDC document. That's the identity he gives to it.
And he cites 2 key events as captured in this document. Tell us more.
Yes, first is the fact that the happenings in Parliament by the opposition NDC, they said according to him, this document has been in circulation since 2021, and it is part of the ploy for which the NDC decided to oppose the e-levy when government attempted to introduce same. We can also listen to him talk about the fact that what is currently happening in Parliament is another plot from that document to actually get government frustrated from doing its business in Parliament.
Chapter 2 of the secret document provides strategies on how the NDC minority should leverage parliamentary power to disrupt government business. Pages 7 and 8 under the subheading Maximizing Parliamentary Control of the Legislature provides the context for this NDC dubious plot. And I read from here, but it's actually a direct quote from the document. The 2020 election resulted in an unprecedented situation in Ghanaian politics, with an evenly split parliament, with the NDC and NPP holding equal seats. The equilibrium creates a powerful opportunity for the NDC to, one, influence, to delay or outright block government's legislative agenda. I want you to focus on those things. One, influence, delay, or outright block government's legislative agenda. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, this strategy the NDC has operated with since 2021 is on full display with what is happening in Parliament. So you have a situation where the NDC, for some odd reason, decides that it wants to be majority. And so
well, that's Richard Anyagba, the communications director of the NDC, speaking at that press conference. Well, thankfully, he has joined us on the line. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight. Winning the 2024 election and beyond, a comprehensive NDC document. That's the title you say it is. Where can I find this document?
I have a copy I can share with you. Good evening, and others also have a copy.
No, Mr. Gbande, I'm told it's also Mr. Gbande on the phone, but no, let me start with you, Richard Anyagba. First, Mr. Gbande, I'll come to you shortly.
Okay, well, Emefa, good evening, and good evening to my good brother, Mustafa, on the line. Yes, you can have a copy of the document. I have it, and I'm sure others have it too. If you ask them, they'll be able to give you.
Who is the author of this document?
Who also has it?
Who is the author of this document? Who put together this document?
It doesn't have an author to it, but it has an agenda that has been implemented by the NDC. So you can say that the NDC is the author of the document. But you don't expect a document like this to have a name to it.
Do you know when it was put together?
It says confidential document 2021, so I assume it was put together around that time.
And you say there are two key events, including what happened this week in Parliament, cited in that particular document. 2021, is there any other key event that has been cited in this particular document apart from what we are seeing this week?
Well, what we are seeing this week is part of an elaborate plot, and what has happened all along in Parliament is essentially the way the NDC has done business from 2021 up until now. So literally everything in the document captured in these two chapters that I was talking about is actually evidence of what the NDC has been doing in Parliament since 2021. So essentially, if you mention an issue to do with the economy, to do with governance, it finds expression in the directives that are outlined in this document, simply for the NDC to make it difficult for the government to govern and to do so effectively.
So what you're telling me is that the largest opposition party in this country, the NDC, put together a script and they are acting it out and we're watching it unfold. That's what you're saying?
Certainly. I mean, if you look at this document, and in fact, the truth of the matter is that you set a document issue aside for a minute. We have been complaining about how disruptive the NDC has been since this Parliament. The grandstanding, the obstruction, that came to a head particularly in 2022 when for the first time Parliament did not comply with the PFMA Act because they failed to pass the budget in its entirety by 31st December. Now, why did that happen? If at the time you think about it, you just think that maybe the NDC is actually being supportive or trying to express the anger or the feeling of the people. But if you put this document to that behavior, you come to understand that it was not in a vacuum. The NDC action and the opposition of that document was not in a vacuum.
Well, let's come down to what we are seeing, events leading to this controversy in Parliament. You say that is also contained in the document. So let's zeroing in on that. The NDC predicted that 3 of your members will, at least let's limit it to just the 2, Suhum and then Aguna West, that 2 of them will actually go independent, for which reason their seats will be declared vacant for all that we're seeing now to happen. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what I'm saying, but what I'm saying is that it's an opportunity that presented itself.
And that's what's also in the document, that opportunity will present itself?
No, it's not in. It's not in the document. But
okay.
Here's what is in the document. The attempt to disrupt government business is classically captured in the document. So the NDC leveraged the opportunity, okay, and went to town to be able to disrupt government business. Now, let me ask you this question: what is the hurry, if indeed those people are going to contest independent, and therefore that has created a vacancy, which the Speaker has declared, and therefore those people have forfeited their seats in Parliament, thereby the NDC having more MPs than the NDC. What is the hurry? Why wouldn't the NDC just allow for the processes to unfold? There's a process in court against that. Why are they occupying a position that has not been conferred on them? They are claiming that position.
Okay.
And the idea is that, consistent with the operation to say that let's disrupt government business, here is an opportunity. Let's leverage it to disrupt the business of government.
Okay,
That's really what is happening.
Okay, let me bring in the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande. Thank you so much for your time once again, and thank you for sticking with us. So everything we are seeing, it appears that you've just put all this together since 2021, and you're acting it out.
Well, Emefa, good evening, and good evening to my brother. Why wouldn't the NPP bring this out? Because you see, there's a backlash.
But is there a document to start with?
No, I'll come there. There's a national resentment against the NPP and the government. There's a shame that have befallen the judiciary, that we have judges who are insensitive to law, who are politically incentivized. And so, given the nature of this backlash, the arrogant posturing of the minority leader today, Afenyo Make, which is also a backlash in the face of the NPP, they will concoct documents, they will try to swing the media discourse, they will try to cover up, they will try to, if possible, repaint the whole picture. But let me tell Emefa, I'm speaking on behalf of the General Secretary of the party. The NDC have not uttered any document. In fact, our strategy into 2024 is not a printable document. That is what the NPP is looking for, and they cannot find. They will only open our minds to get what we think. But the battle lines are very drawn. The battle lines are that the NDC is first and foremost committed to winning an election towards the interest of the people of Ghana.
But Mr. Gbande, there's no plan that you will not find, at least typed or printed. You are saying that the NDC's plan is all in your heads.
Yes. The MPP is paying people to try and find out what our strategy is. And I'm going to tell Ahiagba and Akufo-Addo for free that our strategy is that we are vigilant, apart from the fact that we are committed to winning the election and we are ready for it. We also have elements of revenge of what they have done to us in the last election. And so we have been calling on the records. I don't know if you are aware.
But Mr. Gbande, let me take you back a little, at least, just on the document note. I'm wondering, maybe some will say maybe a silly question, but really, if there was such a document, will you admit to it on radio, publicly?
Of course. I'm not Emefa, you have dealt with me. I'm not somebody who hide my intentions. I'm a defense student. If I need to deal with you, I'll let you know that I'm coming after you. And we have told the MPP that the battle lines of 2024 is that we are vigilant and that we want to win election transparently. That is why we have been involved in the conversation of Electoral Commission organizing a free and fair election. That is why we have always insisted.
But is it a part of your plan also to disrupt every government business as part of the plan to win the 2024 election?
Is there a government? What is in place is a criminal syndicate.
Oh dear. Mr. Gbande, really, criminal syndicate, really, please, let's be a bit decorum in this particular discussion so that we can have a good discussion this evening, sir. So,
However, I can withdraw the words, but let me tell you, this is a government that have deceived the people. This is a government that we are holding evidence that the president have superintended the highest level of corruption syndicates in the last 7.5 years. Okay? This is a government for the first time they are in power. Their members of parliament are switching to independence. It should tell you the caliber of government you have. Why would the NDC be afraid of this kind of government? Why will Ghanaians vote for this kind of government?
Okay.
A government where a vice president lies his way every day. Why will you trust that kind of government?
Okay, Mr. Bande, let me bring in Richard Anyagba. Finally, I'm really out of time on this particular issue. But Mr. Anyagba, my colleagues tell me that you have promised that this is a document that you make available to us. And you've heard the NDC. There's no such documents. They're only executing what they have to do because of the gains that you've not made that you're expecting to have been made by this particular government.
Well, my good brother Mustafa is very savvy. He will not come on your program whether he's swearing fire or brimstone. He can't say it. Even if you put a gun to his head, Mustafa will not tell you this document is by the NDC. So that one is something that you should know, Emefa. But interesting in this document, he mentioned about Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia being a liar. This document has a full chapter on Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Why they should try and make him unpopular, that he is not attacked enough. And so there's a full plot in this document to target the credibility of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. That's chapter 8. I'll send you the document so you can read it.
I'll be waiting.
In addition to that, there is also a design plot to commission, NDC people to attack, to formulate issues and scandals and tag the government with it. And by this, you know who I'm going to talk about. The NDC is egging on my good brother Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa in this document to go on a rampage, to go on a certain wild goose chase to try and brand this government as corrupt. So all the things that he's been engaged in is part of the design in this government.
Okay, but this document that you're making reference to and putting out a lot more, I cannot authenticate because I have not seen that document. The NDC, whom you say authored it, are also saying that they did not author it, just like we've seen in past documents, and it's been said that it is doctored amongst others. I would not want us to go into the details of this particular document until we can actually authenticate it. So I'll leave it here, gentlemen. Thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight. You had Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Bande, and also Richard Anyagba is the Communications Director of the NPP. I'll take business now with James Ishen. When we return, Reporters Without Borders are weighing in on attack on Multimedia's Erastus Donko and his team for filming the destruction of large tracts of the Asinanyo Forest Reserve by illegal miners. We have details of that, plus our climate focus Tuesday. Mr. Shen, what do we have?
Interesting times ahead. Now, coming up in business this evening, Springfield starts appraisal drilling of Afina were expected to add 50,000 barrels of oil a day to Ghana's production capacity, and Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam highlight intra-Africa trade as key to Ghana's economic recovery. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business, Kingdom Books and Stationery, Syntex Tanks, and Pepsodent and Charcoal and Herbal.
You see them. You see them every day in our communities, doing what they do best to make a difference in the lives of people. You see them. You see them bring positive transformation to the lives of people in the areas of education, health, and economic empowerment. While many will see them and turn their faces away, you see them. You see their efforts, and you know they're heroes who deserve to be celebrated. MTN Heroes of Change is setting out to unearth and to celebrate a new set of heroes. You can throw the light on the heroes you see in your community by nominating them to win 100,000 Ghana cedis and other prizes to help them expand their work. Just fill an online nomination form at mtn.com.gh or send a WhatsApp with a 1-minute video of your nominee's project on 055 141 1122. Deadline for nominations is 18th October 2024, so don't waste time. Nominate your hero now. MTN Heroes of Change. Be the change you wish to see.
Attention CEOs, join Ghana's top 1,000 CEOs, policymakers, political leaders, and ambassadors for the first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024 on November 7, 2024 at the Mervyn Pig Hotel, Accra from 6 to 10:30 p.m. This historic event will focus on reigniting the business economy and social contract for growth, a business manifesto for political accountability and sustainable development. Special guests of honor include His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, Vice President of Ghana, and His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, former President of Ghana. Attendance is by invitation and requires pre-registration. Register at ceogaladina.ceonetworkgh.com. For inquiries, contact 0546391970 or email ceogaladina@gmail.com. This event is powered by Chief Executives Network Ghana in partnership with Deloitte, PwC, University of Ghana, SIGA, GIPC, UPSA Law, and the Multimedia Group. The first Ghana CEO Presidential Manifesto Gala Dinner 2024, connecting political ambitions with business realities.
Choboy! Yeah. We have a new leader in town. Obiarenti. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal packed with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
Efia, I've been thinking. Have you noticed the changes in our community?
Kojo, things are really different now. The NPP has really made a difference.
Exactly. Free SHS, healthcare, new factories. It's like a whole new Ghana.
And don't forget, electricity is so much reliable now. I remember when we used to go days without light.
True. The NPP has done a lot to improve the basics.
Ajua is a beneficiary of free SHS. And now, she is in university.
And that's the kind of leadership we need. Someone who is focused on making things better for everyone. But Efia, still there are a lot more to be done for the development of Ghana.
Absolutely, Kojo. The NPP has shown that real progress is possible.
On December 7th, let's vote to keep this positive impact going. Vote number 1 on the ballot. Vote NPP for a better and prosperous Ghana.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Welcome and now for a daily star 712 hash and found no regrets. A Sankoma investors are a striking gold. A Sankoma health workers are a diagnosing luck with precision. A Sankoma that tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. They say a Sankoma passionate fan also entering containing a joy. Afraid to the stressor or turning a hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, a Sankoma, if you say your next big win is right here.
Dial star 712 hash and join the luckiest winning celebration. From the 1st of July 2024, dial star 712 hash to keep buying tickets as a group, individual, or even as a community. Win loads of cash and prizes in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712 hash. Join the winning streak now.
The luckiest
star 712 hash.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Imagine having access to top-notch educational resources, no matter your grade of school or location in Ghana, with the Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank. you can tap into a vast library of resources, even in offline mode. From primary all the way to tertiary education, we've got you covered. As a student, you have access to past questions from 1990 to date for BEC, WASI, and tertiary test examinations. As a teacher or lecturer, you can hold virtual classes for your students and share your lecture notes for their use. As an educator or researcher, you can publish your books or articles for public consumption. And lastly, you have your own studies teacher or AI tutor who is trained to teach you in any subject topic till you fully understand. So whether you're a student, educator, content creator, researcher, or entrepreneur, the Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank was made just for you. Sign up today at www.gksb.gov.gh. The Ghana Knowledge and Skills Bank, where learning has no limits and the possibilities are endless. This project was financed by the World Bank under the erstwhile e-Transform project at the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization.
Welcome back to Business on Newsnight. I am James Shen. We settle for other details now. First off, indigenous upstream petroleum company Springfield Group has announced that it is going ahead to commence its appraisal drilling on its Afina field despite the concerns surrounding the unitization of the Afina and Sankofa field. The chief executive of the group, Kelvin Autry, disclosed this at a press conference. He announced that the Afina field is expected to contribute about 50,000 barrels of oil a day to Ghana's total production.
GNPC worked very hard and we secured a rig from Northern Ocean. The rig is called Deep Sea Bolster. It's a semi-sub rig, and I would like to basically announce to everyone here that the rig is finally in country and we have commenced the appraisal program.
Kelvin Autry is the CEO of Springfield Group. Now, Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam has stated that Ghana's economic recovery hinges more on trading with other countries within Africa. He has therefore advised that more must be done to ensure that the needed structures are built to support payment with other African countries. Dr. Adam was speaking at the African Caucus Forum at the IMF World Bank meetings in Washington, D.C., USA.
We recognize intra-African trade as a catalyst for economic growth, job creation, and poverty reduction, and are committed to surmounting all impediments to intra-African trade with the invaluable support of the World Bank and the IMF. We've identified an effective and unified intra-continental payment system as one of the imperatives for intra-African trade. We recognize that financial inclusion and harmonized trade rules are necessary to ensure an inclusive African continental free trade area implementation, leaving no country or individual behind.
Finance Minister Dr. Mohamed Amin Adam speaking at the Africa Caucus meeting with World Bank President Ajay Banga. Still on the IMF World Bank meetings, the International Monetary Fund is making a strong case for aggressive tax reforms to deal with the revenue mobilization challenges facing the country. Speaking at the launch of the 2024 Fiscal Monetary Report in Washington, D.C., Assistant Director at the IMF, Era Dabla Nori, said focusing on the structural reforms can deal with the issue.
In terms of priorities, we believe that the authorities need to continue to restore debt sustainability. And in this regard, there's two important aspects. The first is to complete the restructuring of external commercial debt in line with program commitments. And the second is to really redouble efforts on domestic revenue mobilization. And what's important here is that the strategy is not only about aiming to raise revenues, mobilize revenues, but to fundamentally change the tax system. The strategy aims to reduce tax evasion, tax avoidance, to improve tax compliance, and more broadly enhance the fairness and equity of the tax system. And the IMF has long advocated countries that it's not about raising rates, it's about broadening the base and making tax systems as fair and equitable as possible.
An assistant director at the IMF, Era Dabla Nori, speaking at the launch of the Fiscal Monetary Report in Washington, D.C., on the sidelines of the annual IMF World Bank meetings. Now, to some other stories, economist Dr. Priscilla Chumesi-Bafo is calling on businesses to avoid politically exposed supply chain deals. According to her, such business operations are likely to be affected negatively after elections due to favors from parties in government. Dr. Bafo was speaking to Joy Business after a panel discussion on the 2024 KPMG Africa CEO's Outlook in Accra.
I believe they need to not to be too involved in politically sensitive activities, politically sensitive value chains, because if indeed you are, and there happens to be a change which doesn't favor the business, then it means that the business doesn't thrive. And so essentially we are looking for businesses that are resilient regardless of which government is in power. And I think that is the discussion that we need to focus on going forward. And essentially what is required is a solid macroeconomic fundamentals, as we've indicated.
Meanwhile, senior country partner at KPMG, Anthony Sapon, urged the business community to adopt sustainable initiatives as many global supply chains continue to divert attention towards environmental governance.
So we're looking forward to the next 3 years being a global world where, with all the challenges of supply chain, with all the challenges of conflict, with all the challenges of economic downturn, looking forward to a situation where globally in Africa, businesses will focus on sustainability, businesses will focus on growth, and businesses will focus on developing the skills of people. And to sum it all up, this all ends up in ESG.
And that senior country partner at KPMG Ghana, Anthony Sapon. Earlier was Dr. Priscilla Chumesi-Balfour, an economist. And that's all for business on News Night with me, James. Echen, over to you, Emefa.
Thank you very much, James, for the latest from the world of business. Let's hit sports, and we're getting ready for Saturday. The Joy Sports Invitational.
Our super swimming.
People who gave you the swimming.
Yesterday we settled on it.
We
analyzed the potential.
Why
we
are
realized
you giving
that.
out our trade secrets? I'm doing 100 meters. You say swimming.
You are doing 100 meters?
Yes.
100 meters.
100 meters.
Representing multimedia.
I'm telling you.
Is it a bicycle with the legs?
With the legs, your face.
Oh my goodness. I'm good.
Which sports are you engaging in?
I've got about 3 of them.
I heard some CEOs
talking Premier Health Insurance CEO
things and challenging
calling out Ken for the CEO's penalty shootout.
Is camping,
I'm telling you,
at an undisclosed site.
They have no idea.
You have no idea.
No idea
we are
at all.
coming like a guy.
And already there's one company we visited today, Minerals Commission, who have called out Joy FM.
Oh, they don't know. They think
mentioned the advancements.
They have no idea.
They say they are ready for you. They have taken notice of all that you've been doing. And they are ready to face you come Saturday at University of Ghana Stadium.
We are giving,
I'm telling you, this is the Joy Sports Invitational. We're just about 2 days away to the big event on Saturday. Minerals Commission, they say they are ready.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our video analysts have monitored whatever Joy FM and multimedia are doing. And we have antidote for you. Look, the fact that we have come late, we just arrived. You know the Spanish Barcelona team? We were with them, the ex-Barcelona players. We have an event on next month. We were training with them. So we just arrived. And we want to demonstrate to Ghana that we are not just boasting.
This is why it's serious
boasting. Oh yeah, Minerals Commission. So along with the Galamsey fight, they have time for Joy Sports Invitation.
But you see, that day we need to check ID cards.
Oh yeah.
We don't want any.
Oh yeah, we understand some people have begun exploring Ghana's Division 2. And looking for
Cristiano
support.
Ronaldo has sent a message to the Joy team, the football team. So you let me not say much.
Oh dear.
Let me not say much.
Roro himself.
Yes. The arm wrestling, Winston is leading that team.
Winston is leading the arm wrestling team.
But
my goodness.
This team that we have here is a host and win.
Host and win.
Oh, Massa.
Host and win.
Host and win. We have Banku Eaters competition also. Like Apawu is the whole of Africa.
Oh my goodness.
When you are looking for someone who can eat Banku, Kenke, Maxo Apawu is there for you. 100 meters
Joy
dash.
Sports Invitational.
We've all actually beaten Usain Bolt. Me. Usain Bolt, and I beat him. And you are there talking about what?
Beat Usain Bolt.
I beat Usain Bolt. Ask him. We just didn't do it publicly.
Oh yeah.
So as for the team, we are ready.
Oh yeah, we are ready. We are
you
super
want to
ready.
Beat a man
super
in his
ready.
own house. How
it
can
can't happen.
do that?
It can't happen. So I mean, University of Ghana Stadium, Saturday, Labadi Beach
What
Hotel.
time
We've heard
are
you.
we gathering?
9 a.m. That's when the entire team will converge. Football, CEO penalty shootout, table tennis, swimming, basketball, the tag of peace, the 100 meters, 50
you see, a man
meters
didn't
dash.
come today.
Yeah.
You know what he's doing?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where?
This morning I was with him at the AstroTurf.
Mm-hmm.
Putting finishing touches to his, striking potentials.
These are our top
standing
top
nine. Standing nine. He's not doing track back. No, standing.
Bye-bye. We'll see you.
Well, Emefa, just to mention that the Ghana the 20 team have advanced to the semi-finals of the WAFU B tournament. They're now just one win away from qualifying for the under-20 AFCON, so we're keeping tabs on them. Big congratulations to them. They should win the semi-finals and they'll return to the AFCON.
Okay. Let's do climate focus. And tonight, the streets of Boko are witnessing a transportation shift like never before. Following a ban on motorbike riding due to security concerns, electric bikes have emerged as the new preferred mode of transportation, eco-friendly and efficient. These e-bikes are transforming daily commutes while significantly reducing carbon emissions. Mahmoud Mohammed Nuruddin has today's edition of Climate Focus.
With the motorbike ban, residents had to find alternative transportation. Electric bikes have become a game changer.
I started using this electric motor 3 months ago.
Meet Idrisu Zulfao, a teacher who has embraced the electric bike phenomenon.
Okay, because with the electric one, you don't need to use money to buy fuel and all sort of things.
E-bikes produce no noise, no carbon dioxide, and no harmful emissions. It is a win-win for residents' health and the environment.
Since it doesn't produce sound and carbon dioxide, I think it's very good for everyone, especially our health. It's very, very good.
It helps you to protect the environment in the sense that it doesn't produce carbon dioxide. So because it doesn't produce carbon dioxide, it protects the environment from pollution, from noise pollution, and then from also protecting the ozone layer.
Although the e-bike offers numerous advantages, its higher cost is a significant barrier for many individuals.
I would like to own one, but looking at my state right now, the price is very costly. It's costly for me.
Some of the parts cost is 300 without the workmanship. Some cost is 200. Some even cost 500. But for me, I have not experienced any fault with it.
E-bikes provide freedom and mobility for people of all ages and abilities. Residents here want the government to offer incentives and investment in e-bike infrastructure to encourage their adoption. A report by Mohammed Nuruddin.
Climate Focus is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging gaps for positive youth development, and the Climate Development Knowledge Network.
Well, and tonight, advocacy NGO Reporters Without Borders has become the latest to condemn the violent attack on my colleague Erastus Asare-Donko and his team while they were filming the destruction caused to large tracts of the Asinanyo Forest Reserve by illegal miners. Well, we've been hearing from the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, charging the IGP to act swiftly on the matter. We know that there have been 3 arrests, and to the latest, we're hearing from Reporters Without Borders on this matter. They first narrated the incident on their website and condemned the violent attack on the crew, signed by its director of RSFS Sub-Saharan Africa Bureau, Sadibu Marong. The group further noted that any social issue, including the environment, must be able to be addressed without fear of reprisals. They then called on authorities to bring the perpetrators of these attacks to justice, emphasizing they must not go unpunished. Well, we can hear Erastus Asare-Donko's report detailing how several citronella trees grown have been pulled down despite ongoing calls for a cessation of mining in forest reserves. Note that though Erastus and his team were attacked whilst filming evidence of these environmental infractions, they managed to get footage to file this report.
The Asinanyo Forest Reserve is a production forest established in 1940. It covers an area of 22,800 hectares in the Amansia South district of the Ashanti region. About 9,350 football fields of the forest, that is 37.78 kilometers square, has been given out for mining to Edel Metallum Resources Limited. We set out to investigate the environmental infractions engaged in by the company's mining operations at Esumenya. Though the company has been mining for months, our checks indicate they only obtained a license from the Environmental Protection Agency on October 16, 2024. Contrary to its large-scale mining license regulation, the company has been engaged in unconventional artisanal mining methods similar to that adopted by illegal miners. There are no settling ponds or tailings dams as required by law. Contaminated mining residue is left to flow into tributaries of the Ankobra River and the forest environment, contrary to water use regulations. The Asenanyo River, from which the reserve derives its name, is not visible from the mining mess created here. Our team saw indications of the abstraction of clean groundwater into already polluted surface water without the water use permit by the Water Resources Commission. The devastation runs miles into the Asenanyo Forest Reserve. Trees restored under the Ghana Landscape Restoration Project have been pulled down for mining operations. Requests for comment from some known leaders of the company have not yielded any response. The quest of the team to report on the activities of the mine was resisted by a group of armed men claiming to be protecting the concession of Edel Metallum Resources Limited, who physically assaulted the Joy News crew. Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Esumenya, Amasia South District, Ashanti Region.
And we head out with the National Science and Maths Quiz, the 1-8 stage underway. And the head of all hosts, it does appear you are not the head at this point. Keta SHTS is leading 35 points. You are with 24 points, and in Price OSHS 9 points. We are waiting for the gay girls tomorrow.
The shade for Motown, though. I feel like you've been dreaming of it for a while.
Oh, no.
Anyway, all the best to the gay girls tomorrow.
It's not over until it's over, they say. So
how's your school doing?
Which one?
How many schools do you have? Oh, wow.
What are we doing for Strong and Sassy?
We're still doing our survivor stories. So tonight we're going to hear the story of another survivor and her family. So breast cancer. You know it's breast cancer awareness month.
Yes.
So
have you checked?
We're doing that. I've been squeezing my boobs, squeezing. Yes, okay. Squeezing. But I think I'll do one on Sunday because we're doing it at church as well. So.
Okay.
Have you?
Yeah, we did one today at the multimedia group. So
that's amazing. Yes. And everything is good?
Everything is fine.
We thank God.
It just needs more. Okay, so let's go. And that's it for News 90.
Thank you, Emefa.
Enimwa Joy is up next with Strong and Sassy. Please do stay.